Hey guys, it's Miss T and welcome. So for those of you 5th graders who are thinking about band next year, here are some instruments that I want you guys to be thinking about. I'm going to first show you guys some brass instruments and some woodwind instruments. So for now we'll start with the brass, and I got 2 instruments today that I'm going to show you guys how to play, and that is the trombone and the euphonium, or another name for that is the baritone. So the other brass instruments that I'm going to show you video clips of are the trumpet, the tuba, and the French horn. And all those guys that I mentioned above are all under the umbrella of the brass family. Now this section is the loudest in the whole orchestra and the whole band, and they can be heard from very far away. And that's because they're made entirely of brass. So what these guys are, since they're made out of brass, they're basically just long tubes that have bells at the end, and they wind up and they kind of curve into different shapes, and that's how it makes it easier to play. Now you use your breath to play these instruments, and so you have a little metal mouthpiece that you buzz into. So while you guys are thinking about that, I'm gonna get my trombone set up. Hey guys, so this is my handy dandy trombone here, and this is a brass instrument. So what that means is that this thing is entirely made of brass. That's why it's so shiny. Now there's 2 kind of main parts to the trombone. You got this half right here, which has this bell attached to it that amplifies the sound, and you got this half, which is the slide part. Now this is the part that really changes the pitch on the instrument. So, along with this slide, you also got this little mouthpiece guy right here. Now this is a metal brass mouthpiece for the trombone. Now how this makes sound is that you gotta buzz with your lips into this, and it makes the pitch. So that's how you do it. You do fast pitch. The faster air you blow into this mouthpiece, the higher the pitch. And the lower, the heavier air you put into this is going to make a lower sound, like this. So this is how it makes any kind of sound on the trombone, which you just heard me earlier. So I'm by no means an expert on the trombone, but I can play a little bit. So that's all you really need to know about this little guy. He's pretty cool. Hey guys, so this is my euphonium, or as you might otherwise hear it, the baritone. Now this guy's pretty neat because he can actually play in 2 different clefs. He can play treble clef and in bass clef. It all depends on how you want to read it or how your band director decides that they want this section to play in. Now, this guy kind of looks like another instrument that you might know. He's kind of like a mini version of it, and that is the tuba. So you see how it kind of looks like a little mini tuba? Now this guy also has 3 buttons right here that change the pitch. Now when you press down on one of these valves, it changes the length of it, and that makes a pitch change in the instrument. You see all these pipes and tubes in here? They're all what makes sound on this euphonium. Now you saw me how we had that metal mouthpiece for the trombone. This also has a metal mouthpiece. As a member of the brass family, that's kind of how they tend to be. So, like the trombone, you simply buzz into your metal mouthpiece, and then once you connect it to the instrument, it'll make that awesome sound that you just heard. So this is the euphonium.
The tuba. The tuba is the largest of the brass family of instruments. It's also considerably the youngest of that family. It's the baby of the brass section. It wasn't around for 200 years or more after the rest of the brass section was fully developed. Now, when we play the tuba, we play it in exactly the same way as every other brass instrument ever invented. And by that I mean we produce the sound with our lips like this. Then we add the mouthpiece, which helps to focus the sound. And then we add the instrument, which focuses and amplifies the sound.
Hello, my name's Katie and I'm one of the two principal horns of the Philharmonia Orchestra. So I'm going to talk to you about the French horn. It's in the brass group of orchestral instruments. It sits on the right-hand side, slightly away, because we're slightly special. We're slightly special for a couple of reasons. I mean, fundamentally it's the same because you make that bit of weird buzzing sound with your lips. We vibrate our lips to create the sound. That vibration then hits the mouthpiece and then travels through the horn like that. So it goes from an ugly sound to... Now, the horn is quite special in that, firstly, it's played with the left hand, so the right hand. That is because a while back, before the valves were invented a couple of hundred years ago, we used to change the note with our hand. So like this. That doesn't really give you an even tone, so they added some valves so we can get all the notes without having that fuzzy sound. Another difference is that it's conical, so it starts smaller here and winds round and eventually gradually gets bigger until you get to the bell. So that's why it's slightly different to other brass instruments. It's great fun to play. One of the things I love most about the French horn is the variety you get. So in an orchestral situation, you can play some beautiful, beautiful quiet tunes, kind of creeping melodies, very haunting, very romantic, but also you can get some really exciting moments when the horns come blasting in and you get a bells up bit and it just creates that little bit of extra added excitement. This is the natural horn. This was a member of the orchestral family from about, I don't know, 16th century to 17th century, or maybe up to 18th century even. It was before the modern horn had valves over here. This used to be played with the right hand because there are no valves, so you had to get the notes in between by going. The natural horn works on the harmonic series, which means it can only get a few notes at a time, such as this.
My name is Alistair Mackey. I'm one of the principal trumpets in the Philharmonia Orchestra. I've always loved the trumpet, and to play it in a symphony orchestra is a tremendously exciting thing to do. Composers often use you at the biggest moments of the piece, the most exciting moments they give to the trumpet, and you sit there high above the orchestra and your sound can ride across the wonderful sound that's created by your colleagues around you. It seems strange to me that all this sound is generated just from vibrating your lips. It's not a very interesting sound, that. It's not a very noble sound. And yet the trumpet gives you a completely different voice. It takes that vibration, it takes that slightly ugly sound and makes it into something that I think very noble, very beautiful.
Hey guys, so you just listened to all the brass instruments. Now we're going to take a look at the woodwind instruments. Now these guys are a little bit different in that they actually used to be all made out of wood a long, long time ago. That's why they're called woodwinds. Now though, they're mostly made out of plastic and metal, but what makes them different from the brass instruments is that there's kind of two categories of woodwinds. One is the flute category, in which you blow air across an edge of the instrument, and that's what makes the sound. Or the reed section. Now those guys, you blow into a mouthpiece that has a little wooden reed on it. Now when that reed vibrates, That's what makes a sound, and that's why they're called woodwinds, using the air. So, we're going to take a quick look at our first instrument. So our first instrument here is the lovely flute. This is a personal favorite of mine. But this guy is all made out of metal, and you play it by blowing across the edge to this little mouthpiece that I have here. Now when you blow the air into this and you move your fingers on each of these keys, it'll change the pitch. And this guy, he loves playing real high, and it's very pretty and really easy to listen to. So here's a quick clip of me playing the flute. So our next guy is the clarinet. Now this guy's pretty cool. He can make some really deep low sounds, and that's why I like him. Now you play this similarly to the flute, where you just move your fingers like this and that changes the pitch. But this one's different in that it has a mouthpiece with a wooden reed on it. Now when you put your mouth on this mouthpiece, you use your lips to kind of form a pretty hard embouchure on here, and then you blow air into it, which makes the reed vibrate and makes the sound come out. So this is the clarinet, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of how it sounds like. Now this guy right here is the saxophone, specifically an alto saxophone. There's actually 3 different kinds: an alto, a tenor, and a bass. Those are your main saxophone types that you're going to see in band. Now this guy is the alto, and you can see he's a lot shinier than the clarinet. That's because these are usually made out of brass. But like the flute, it has still the fingers that you move, and when you move that, it changes the pitch of the instrument. But like the clarinet, it has that mouthpiece with the wooden reed on it. And so like the clarinet, you blow air into this and you make the reed vibrate, and that's what makes the sound come out of the instrument. So I'm going to play a little bit of the saxophone for you.
My name's Amy Harmon, and I'm Principal Bassoon of the Philharmonia Orchestra. The bassoon is a woodwind instrument, and you play it by using double reeds, which are so called because it's 2 pieces of bamboo tied together, and when you blow, it vibrates. You then attach it onto this metal pipe, which is called a crook, and the air goes in all the way down and up again. It's got a series of holes which are open and closed by pressing keys, which change the pitch. It's got a very large range, and you can play very low, and then also very high, and then everything in between.
The oboe comes apart into 3 sections like this. We have what's called the top joint, and the middle joint, and the bell, and they fit back together. The metalwork has to be very carefully aligned because it's quite delicate. The modern oboe has approximately 46 pieces of keywork, the functions of which vary from simply covering the main tone holes, these 6 keys here, to trill keys, and also these keys on the back, which your thumb operates to help you play into the higher octaves.
Hey guys, so now you heard all of the instruments in the band. So let me know if there's anything that you want to hear more of, or if you have any questions, or if you want me to play some more instruments for you. Now you know what all of them should sound like, and maybe you'll have an idea of what you want to play in band next year. There are all so many amazing instruments out there, and I know you can rock one of them. So thank you guys for watching, and I'm looking forward to hear you guys. Goodbye.